Vice Mayor, together with the Councilor J. Pascual, and this representation when Metropack signed the supply agreement with Cagayan de Oro Water District. Three of us, we were just pulled to the program to sit as audience. But let it be for the record that during that week's exercise and activity, Mr. Chairman, our invitation was to attend the competitiveness program. But upon arriving at Manila, of course, the executive department pulled our transportation to a direction where we were not informed that there was a signing that was supposed to be conducted between Metropack and the Cagayan de Oro Water District. But be as it may, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy that we were there, not for reason of any accusations that has been hurled against us, but as city government officials, we should be invited to such a program, gigantic program. Not only the Vice Mayor, the Majority Floor Leader, or Councilor J. Pascual. My thoughts running around, Mr. Chairman, that all the officials of the city government must be there, and all stakeholders must be present. And if there would be any time for inquiry, can inquire, because media all over the place where the venue was had, Mr. Chairman, were national and local. In fact, pictures were taken in our timelines on Facebook. We have all these documented, Mr. Chairman. And sad thing is that after several weeks, we know that the contracts may not be advantageous to the city government. We know that it might run 1 to 2 years, thus increase, which is now impending before the public, because Water District Board of Directors have signed an agreement with Metropack authorizing perhaps an increase to 16 pesos. It may not be now. After the report of Councilor Bunglao last week, Mr. Chairman, I made myself available for the entire week just to inquire, because the record will show I was responsible to the filing of the case on the inserted supply agreement between inserted documents, supply agreement between Rio Verde and Water District. Well, there were no committees or no other officials in the city government during that time challenged the issue, Mr. Chairman. I stood firm, even as I saw the interest of the union leader, the head, was filed a case in Luzon area for presumably an issue on moral issue, Mr. Chairman. But we did not fear, and we investigated. At any rate, last week I have discussed and met in several occasions with different personalities. The management, separately from each other's as regards personalities, and an old-timer board of director who is no longer a board of director of Water District. Now, Mr. Chairman, I inquired as to the Metro Pacific contract. Metro Pacific contract, Metropack Water Investment Corporation, or MWIC, Mr. Chairman, is a component company of Maynilad Water Services Incorporated, or MWSI, which is servicing right now Metro Manila, tendered two proposals to Cagayan de Oro Water District. The first one is, of course, that is in the record of the Committee on Public Utilities, which has been authorized by Cagayan de Oro Water District Board of Directors. I am very particular when I say Board of Directors, separating them from the management, Mr. Chairman. Because the board, as a policymaker, adopts, enacts, authorizes, approves, even denies actions, what need to be done for furtherance of policy in governing water system in the Cagayan de Oro City, Mr. Chairman. And the management, of course, the one in charge in the administrative and operational aspects of water district. I am venturing to discuss the actions of the Board of Directors, Mr. Chairman. Again, there were two proposals tendered by the Metropack Water Investment Corporation and Manila Water Services Incorporated to the Board of Directors of COWD. The first one was a supply contract, and that was in last year of 2016, Mr. Chairman. It was signed, and we witnessed, we audience the particular event in Manila, Mr. Chairman. And now, effective. While there is a Rio Verde Corporation that had been signed more than 10 years ago, Mr. Chairman, but the issue between Rio Verde and Water District now lies with the higher courts or the judiciary. We don't want to touch over the issues between them. But on appreciation and assessment, Mr. Chairman, as relayed to me by the officials of COWD and former Board of Director of COWD, the intervention that we would like to seek before the court to declare null and void any and all that has been entered into by the Board of Directors of Water District with Rio Verde may now be a futile act, Mr. Chairman, for a reason that there is now an understanding between the Board of Directors of Water District and Rio Verde to sign an extrajudicial agreement that would allow the exit of any and all cases between Rio Verde and Water District. And what now the Rio Verde, of course, to Metropack Water Investment Corporations. There were easy information that we don't want to reveal any easy information that may not be, that must not be appreciated in the entire facts, Mr. Chairman. But of course, if Metropack Water Investment Corporation would pursue its intentions, while it has already a go signal by the Cagayan de Oro Water District Board of Directors, Mr. Chairman, it must have assets on its own. And of course, the asset that we could think along that line, Mr. Chairman, are the existing asset of the Rio Verde Corporation. But again, that may be perhaps an easy information that may also be worth looking into, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if this is a game or it's just intramurals between and amongst billionaires that would like to do business in the city of Cagayan de Oro. But be as it may, as I have mentioned in the previous session, Mr. Chairman, under the doctrine of parents patriae, we should be the father of our inhabitants. And by doing such, Mr. Chairman, we should look into the affairs, what that would affect the packets of our people, the water line that must be provided for our people. And therefore, the second proposal that was tendered by Metropack Water Investment Corporation to COWD, Mr. Chairman, is the unsolicited proposal for total water resources management. I have a copy of this. And for the information of the members, the board of directors have not yet signed or given an authority to the management to enter into a contract with Metropack Water Investment Corporation, Mr. Chairman. And for one fellow in the Cagayan de Oro Water District, Mr. Chairman, an officer at that, he said, may nalang ganing siguro posible na nagkalino. Kaya kung wala pa daw ito naglino o wala pa lang natandog ang asset sa Rio Verde, naghimo ng presentation ang Metropack sa Water District. So this has not been signed yet, Mr. Chairman. The joint venture proposal. And to all we know, if it is unsolicited proposal, Mr. Chairman, once officially tendered, once officially accepted by any of GOCCs, national agencies, regional agencies, by local government units, Mr. Chairman, under the law, it must be presented and executed and be challenged by any and all other proponent that would like to do joint venture agreement with an agency concerned, Mr. Chairman. But it has expanded to several months already because of that incident that happened in Cagayan de Oro in the middle of this year, Mr. Chairman. If I may, I would like to read the venture agreement that has been proposed by MWIC. The key aspects of the proposed joint venture agreement are as follows. Public sector partner is the Cagayan de Oro Water District. Private sector partner is the MWIC as private sector proponent and majority shareholder in a special purpose company that would form the JV company and with COWD. MWSI will be the technical partner in the SPC. The scope of joint venture activity, rehabilitation, improvement, expansion, operation, and maintenance of the water supply system of COWD, bulk water supply, wastewater reclamation, and non-revenue water management. Project cost, indicative project cost is 4,841,749,475 pesos and 99 centavos. Contribution of the private sector participant. The private sector participant shall provide 1. All financial requirements for the additional capital expenditures. 2. Technical expertise for the project. 3. Human resources for the project. In relation to human resources, it is intended that the GV company will employ certain personnel from COWD who ought to voluntarily cease their employment from COWD. This will ensure that personnel who will implement the project will have the relevant technical qualifications and experience. 6. Contributions of COWD to the contractual joint venture. COWD's primary contribution shall be existing facilities, either being directly contributed into the GV company or under a lease arrangement with the GV company, provided that the value of the contribution shall not exceed 150 million pesos and will be subject to an independent appraisal. 7. Source of funding. The private sector partner will finance its contribution primarily with equity with an option to obtain debt financing. 7. Term of JV company, 15 years to be coterminous with the contract between the JV company and COWD. Term of contract between JV company and COWD, 25 years, renewable for another 25 years. That would count 50 years. Share of COWD. COWD shall be entitled to a fixed monthly fee to finance its administrative operating expenses and dividends. The amount shall be determined during stage 2. So ang billing sa atong existing structure there, Mr. Chairman, would now be on administrative services only. 11, COWD employees, a mutually acceptable right-sizing program shall be initiated with corresponding separation, resignation benefits paid to employees who choose to voluntarily terminate their employment with COWD. The CV company has the option to hire employees of COWD who have ceased their employment with COWD. 12, tariffs. Tariff adjustment to be determined in accordance with agreed IRR for the private sector participant. 13, KPI. The private sector participant will be subject to key performance indicators such as milestones for system expansion. I'm not against private company, Mr. Chairman, doing the government functions and services. I'm not against. But I asked, among the personalities in water district management that I have talked with last week, one question that I have asked as a common question to all. As regards power utilities and water utilities, kanang dinha sa uban ng mga naso, sa Amerika, sa Europe, o sa uban ng mga lugar, pila ka porsyento ang gina-operate o gina-manage sa gobyerno o pila sa ka porsyento ang gina-manage o gina-operate sa private sector kanang basic services ng power o water. Ang common sa nga tubag, Mr. Chairman, almost 100% public utilities, government institutions ang gahimo o ga-operate sa mga water systems. The Public Utility Committee can also inquire as regards the manifestation that I am having right now, Mr. Chairman. The reason of which, Mr. Chairman, is dili ta pwede hulgaw. Katong dibasa ni Councilor Bunglao last week, letter gikan sa Rio Verde, threatening the water district, kung dili mo increase of 16 pesos, there might be interruptions. Muna ang klase, kung private ang mudala. So if the private entity will handle the overall operations, maintenance, even administrative services of a public utility, Mr. Chairman, what now? What can we expect from this private company? They do business for income. Unlike public institutions like GOCCs, bisag na yung mga deficiencies, Mr. Chairman, but we think highly for basis and reasons that they are public institutions. And primarily, they also would like to serve the public at that, Mr. Chairman. In the same week, last week, Mr. Chairman, I asked the Research and Communication Division of the CED, as I have manifested in the previous weeks, that it's about time that the city government would hand in hand help and be helped by this problem that has been pressing the public, Mr. Chairman, and anticipating of the near future of Cagayan de Oro becoming a Metro Cagayan de Oro, Mr. Chairman. More industries, more malls, more hotels, more infrastructures, more incremental population increase, more water needs, Mr. Chairman. Therefore, we should act as a partner of Cagayan de Oro Water District, not as an antagonist of the water district, Mr. Chairman. First, Mr. Chairman, I would like to submit this to the City Council through our City Secretary, the unsolicited proposal for total water resources management and the position paper synopsis alternative supply of treated surface water to COWD, written by Mr. Ray Calextro, the Head of Research and Communication of CED. And Mr. Chairman, at the proper time perhaps, while there is a function of economic enterprise, but we would like to consolidate our efforts, and I am submitting it to the Committee on Public Utilities for proper fitting, disposal, and to the next logical thing that we should act, Mr. Chairman, most favorable to the people of Cagayan de Oro, providing more water provisions in various barangays. And just one point before I stop my discussion, Mr. Chairman, there is one good thing about what happened in the incident, Mr. Chairman, of Water District. One sitio of Barangay Patay